Okay, so for our next lesson, what I'm going to be going over is the fretboard. Now, we just previously went over that in the guitar theory and the five parts of the guitar, but I'd like to go into it a little bit more just so that you understand kind of the concept of it. So, what this is right here is a chord chart. Now, we'll be going over that over a full lesson, and there'll be a full video on it, but let's just say that there are several different pieces to this. There is the pink right here, the lines that go down. These represent frets. So you can see up here, it says first fret. So what this means is that this line right here is the first fret. This line right here is the second fret. This line right here is the third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, and sixth fret. Now, on a regular chord chart, it would not tell you most likely anything except for it'll say third fret right at the top. Right. So for the next piece, we've got our different strings. So what this is I don't know if you can see this at all, but it says low E, A, D, G, B, and high E. I believe that on the website it's going to give you a graph just very much like the one that I have right here. You can kind of look at that a little bit more in detail. But right here, what this graph is showing right now, what this chord chart is showing right now, is an F chord. So what that really means is if you can see these dots right here, that shows an F. So I don't know if you can see that at all, but what you can see is that my fingers are on the first and third fret. First and third fret. So what you can see right up here is it is also on the first and third fret. So that's just kind of a little bit of shows you a little bit like how they're similar. The chord chart is an exact representation of the guitar's neck, of the fretboard. So if you can understand this, the blue lines, all the blue lines right here, except for these outer ones, all the blue lines going like this, they are all strings. They represent the strings. And then all the pink lines, they represent the fretboard. So on most chord charts, they would not give you that representation. It's going to look a lot like the one that I gave you on the website. So basically, that's what a chord chart is. So going into how to really use the fretboard, how to make your songs sound really nice, how to make the chords sound crisp, and how to make it so that you don't have a bad sound whenever you're trying to play a song or whenever you're trying to play something. So there are several different rules to playing a nice chord on the fretboard and really using your fretboard. The first one is press down really hard on the string on the fretboard if you want a really nice sound. Now, as you go along, it won't be really hard for you. You won't need to press as hard just because it won't seem like you do, because your fingers will be calloused and they will be strong. But as of right now, you're going to need to press really, really hard on all three fingers that you'll be using to play these chords. Only touch the strings that you're supposed to touch. Now, for a power chord, the nice thing about it is it's really nice for starters, because the only strings that you need to touch are this one, and this one. You can kind of touch these bottom three. You can kind of lay your finger over them. It doesn't really matter because you're not really supposed to be playing those. The only ones that you're really supposed to be pressing on are these three. Now, the one thing that you really do need to be careful of when playing a power chord is that you don't touch this top string with your third finger. You just want to make sure that you don't touch that, because that can happen sometimes. And also that you get really good at touching two strings right next to each other at the same time, and that you stay on the strings and don't kind of fall off of them. So number 3, I would really like to make this a point, is that touching any of the other strings will mute it. And what that means is, get my guitar again. With this, if I were to say play a G chord. Now this is a full G. So my guitar's a little out of tune, but this is a full G, and if I were to touch any other strings, it sounds like this. It sounds like it's got a mute on it, and that's because I'm touching the strings I'm not supposed to be touching. But whenever my fingers are where they're supposed to be, it sounds like this. So it's pretty crisp. Number 4, use the tips of your fingers. You're gonna want to do this just because it hurts terribly, but if you get really good at this, and your calluses will build quickly, and you'll have a really nice sound to it, and you won't touch any of the other strings. If your finger kind of bends like this when it's touching the string, it mutes it very easily, and there's not much power and it can damage your fingers. So you always want to make sure to play like that. And if you look at any other guitarists, that's usually how they play. So that is a comprehensive rundown of your fretboard. If you've got any other questions about it, you can just go to the contact page and ask me. But I think that this is a nice representation. Again, what this is called is a chord chart. It is incredibly imperative that you remember a little bit about this, because it will come up over and over again when you're trying to learn chords. And also for tabs, which that's in a later thing, but a tab is basically, it shows you how to play picking songs, single note solos, stuff like that. So yeah.